We're here today with Steve Bloom, who teaches guitar in New York City and who has a profile on FindaGuitarTeacher.com. Hi, Steve. Thanks for being with us today.
Hi, thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to be with you, and I'm looking forward to discussing your guitar teaching with you. I know that you teach guitar in Manhattan. Can you tell us, do students come to you or do you travel to your students' homes?
I do both of those things.
And do you travel throughout Manhattan, or there are sections of Manhattan that you travel to when you teach in students' homes?
Well, I found that over the years, my students sort of congregate in one neighborhood, and then the neighborhoods have shifted over the years where I go. So I'm willing to go anywhere, basically.
That sounds great. And what part of Manhattan are you located in so that people coming to you would know what part of the city they're going to?
Well, I'm right in the center of Harlem, 5 blocks north of Central Park.
Very cool. Good place to be. And
Exactly.
nice to be so close to the park, too, I'm sure.
That's great for me and for the kids.
I bet it is.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
speaking of kids, do you teach children and adults, or do you just teach one or the other?
I teach children, teenagers, and adults.
Excellent. And what styles of music would you say students come to you most often wanting to learn?
Well, they either want to have beginning guitar, which is just strumming a few chords, trying to get a few songs together. And then I've had rock and pop mostly,
Yes.
funk and blues, sometimes jazz and sometimes classical, and sometimes Brazilian and Cuban music also.
Excellent. And what is your own background in music? How did you start to play guitar?
Well, I started out reading basic notes, the Mel Bay method in 1970. God.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know the feeling, Steve.
And I had songs for 5 years, just reading the basic notes, playing the chord diagrams, little boxes with the dots. And then I had classical for 5 years after that. Then I studied with a jazz musician in our town in Connecticut. Then I went to Tulane for 2 years, and I had classical and jazz history. And then I went to LIU in Brooklyn for a jazz program, and I've studied privately classical all the time in between all of those things.
Right.
Then I learned other forms of music after college, of course.
Of course. And do you find some students come to you? It sounds like you have a lot of training in jazz and classical. Do you introduce some of those genres to your students, or do you kind of wait for students who are interested in those things specifically?
Well, what I try to do is I try to have some ideas from classical and from jazz possibly in the rock without telling them, so that they get the technical benefits of those disciplines without the how to describe it, so that they can still play the music that they want to play.
Right. It kind of like, well, not exactly. I was thinking kind of like mixing the aspirin up with the ice cream or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, like if they need a scale fingering, I'll borrow from a classical or a jazz fingering, but I won't
Right.
necessarily say that because they're not necessarily interested in that. But let's say they have a rock song with an ascending scale, so I give them a fingering,
Of
like that.
course. That's very cool. Introduce them to things, and they may fall in love with it. When if you introduced it to them as a classical thing, they might have kept it at arm's length.
It's true. I mean, I think that music should be fun, and they should enjoy what they're playing. Universally, I find that students want to play funk, though, even if they want to play metal, they,
Yes,
or they see me play different styles and they get interested like that as well.
of course. Well, that leads me to my next question, which is when a student comes to you, whether it's a beginning student or someone who's played a while, what is your approach to teaching that student? Is there one way that you approach all your students, or do you kind of tailor it to each individual student?
Well, I do. I mean, it's interesting. Most students want similar things, but
Yes.
I always go with the music that the student wants to play and relate everything to that. So if they need to solve a technical problem within their music, I relate it to their music.
Got it. That's a great way to do it, meaning you're going to keep them interested because you're going with the passion that they came to you with.
I hope to keep that going. The other interesting thing I found is that if I have 5 students at stage, whatever stage, they're all at the same stage, they all ask the same questions. And by the questions that the students ask me, I know what they're ready for next. So they're leading the lessons.
Got it. Yes, you mentioned that on your Find a Guitar Teacher profile, that there are these questions that you said at first it kind of took you by surprise that you were hearing these questions over and over, but now you're kind of waiting for the questions as a cue to initiate the next part of the guitar lessons.
I'm trying to go with the student, and so my job is to open the door and say, "Go, it's okay,"
Yeah.
you know.
Right. That's very cool. Well, I was wondering if you might play something on the guitar for us so that people watching the interview could get a little feel for your guitar playing. Might be something that you show students, or might be something that if you're just sitting down at home with the guitar that you'd enjoy playing.
Well, it really depends. I mean, for beginners, you have your basic chords, right? You have, right? You can play. Let me see, am I moving this way? Right.
That's perfect right there, Steve.
And you can also take a basic chord and add something to it, like you can also so that's a basic chord.
Yes.
And then maybe a funk groove might have something like, see if I can get that sound up. Something like that. You know?
Very cool. Yeah, and
people like blues, right? You know?
of course.
See, something like that.
Very nice. So, and you were mentioning before that you'll often play various things for students and kind of maybe styles of music they didn't say they were interested in, but you might play something for them and watch their interest grow by hearing you play it.
Sometimes that does happen, or they ask me about, what about a chord from a certain song, even a song by an artist like Drake or something. They might use a chord like, oops, excuse me.
Yeah, take your time.
I dropped the pick. So even somebody like Drake might use a chord like that, as opposed to a rock chord like.
Right.
I show them how the chord is used. Something like that. Or maybe in other music.
That's very cool. So you're introducing them to kind of music in general, like the sounds and so on, which you'll hear in different places in really all styles of music.
I think that's true. And I have a student who asked me, how do I get more interesting chords?
Yes.
But then all the songs she brought me have the same 4 chords. It's all 1, 5, 6, 4.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And those chords come from the Pachelbel canon, right?
Exactly. Well,
so with all popular music.
With that particular student, did you show the student how to play those same chords in different voicings, things like that? What was your approach in that case?
We didn't get that far yet.
Okay, got it. It's still a work in progress. I see.
She's an amazing singer, actually.
Very cool. Very cool.
She's cool, yeah, very cool.
And as you were saying, Pachelbel's canon, those chords, an awful lot of songs use those. So if you know those, you can go a long way.
You can play 1,000 songs.
You really can without even varying the order of them, just song after song. And there are so many progressions where that happens, too.
I mean, what do you call it? Let It Be. And what's the Bob Marley song?
Are you thinking?
No Woman, No Cry.
That's right, exactly.
Those are the same, yes, those are the same.
Exactly. Yeah, and when you hear them, you can kind of feel that too, and that there's a similar feeling to all of those songs.
That's true. Another aspect of guitar playing is using the pick or your fingers.
Yes.
You can have a different sound if you want to just, if you play like, if you play the chord this way, if you play the chord, your fingers, it just sounds different.
It does.
Some students like that, and some just want to use the pick. It's all good.
Right.
It's fine with me, whatever you want.
Very good. Well, as I see you holding the guitar, it makes me want to ask you, like, when students come to you, probably the newer students will be looking to buy a guitar. Students who have been playing for a while might want to buy a new guitar. Do you offer guidance to them about what guitar to buy and what to look for in a guitar when they go?
Most definitely. I also was trained as a guitar repair person.
Oh, okay.
Have you ever heard of Rick McCurdy downtown?
I don't know the name myself, but the
Master luthier. I was his apprentice for 3 years, so I also
wow.
modify the students' guitars so they're easier to play.
Oh, so you do that for your students?
Just like lowering the nut slots, adjusting the bridge, the
Right,
intonation, so the guitar is inspiring. Like if it's very hard to play, it's no good for a beginning student.
right. Well, that's quite a service you offer. You'd be able to look at someone's guitar and tell them, like, yeah, this isn't going to be easy to play, but to then also be able to say to them, well, give it to me, I'll fix that for you, is
Do it right in the lesson. Right in the lesson.
so you can do things so quickly that you could do it right then and there in front of them.
Well, for parents, in that case, what I do is
Yeah,
I have the student play my guitar for the lesson,
got
and I
it.
work on their guitar right at the same time, so the parents, it saves money for the parents also.
Wow, very cool. That is great. So it sounds like students who come to you are very fortunate to have found you to be able to be exposed to so many different styles of music and also to have someone who knows guitars inside and out the way that you do.
Well, I hope so. I hope so.
Yes.
I hope they feel that way.
Well, Steve Bloom, I want to thank you very much for being a part of this interview. It's wonderful to learn more about your guitar teaching and your guitar repair as well. And you said that you also do setups for the guitars as well.
All the time, all the time.
Very cool. Well,
And refretting as well.
that is great. Well, I want to thank you again. It's great to learn about all these services that you offer, and I'll say again that obviously students in Manhattan who find you have found a very good guitar teacher. So I want to wish you best of luck in your continued teaching and your music itself.
Well, thank you so much, and it was a great pleasure to have this interview with you.
Thank you again, and hope you have a good day and look forward to seeing you very soon on Find a Guitar Teacher.
Thank you very much. Take care.
You too, Steve. Take care. Bye-bye.